Welcome back to The Creative Lens. Today, Todd V is back in the studio as Jake and Colden break down the latest Sony FX5 rumors. It's supposed to have internal RAW just like the Venice, plus possible trade-offs with the new DJI Pocket 4P and Extra Muse 2 Pro. Todd will break down what he learned on his recent podcast and why some companies may be selling weaker products as upgrades now that AI has made chips and computer parts so darn expensive. Plus, Jake brings real-world gear dilemma from his Utah shoot. Let's get into it.
Yo, what's up? Welcome to The Creative Lens. I'm Colden. This over here is Jake. And Todd, thank you for coming back on the show, man.
Happy to be back. Enjoying hanging out with you guys.
This is like our fun, kind of getting to be a regular segment. I'll come over and hang out and get in trouble on your show, and then you can come over here and get in trouble on our show. It's great.
Let's go.
Okay, I got to bring this up to you guys because I almost should have grabbed this as a screenshot as this week's top comment. I had somebody on my channel from our live show, just anybody who's watching this. This is a live show, Thursdays at 2:30. If you're watching it like in our future as a rebroadcast, it's still a live show. I had somebody comment so angry that there is like a 30-second buffer of like coming, like, you know, the music and the kind of the logo so we can get all the live stream stuff in the background done. So angry. He was like, good luck ever getting retention on this show. This is so dumb. I left immediately. Unsub if I could. Like, I was like, I'm so sorry, but this is a live show and you have to go in manually and cut that stuff out. So I don't know. You guys, am I missing something? Is there any better way to do it? Should we just like go YOLO and just push live?
Jump in. I don't mind. We can maybe, you know, shorten up the intro music. Maybe instead of a 60-second spot, it's a 30-second spot. I like AI, or no, not AI. Sorry, our paid.
Be careful here, man. They'll come after you if you admit that.
Intro artist with the. I love that segment.
Yeah. Well, wait, the segment.
Whatever. The intro. The announcer. I call it a segment.
And there's merit to having that little bit of a lead in so people can join. They don't miss all of the wonderful sparks of knowledge that we're about to share. If they come in late, they'll be like, what did I miss? So now, I think maybe also we found the guy responsible for all the reasons that we all have to have a video retention in 30 seconds and why Netflix is now ruined. So we found that guy.
Yeah.
Well, we got another hater. Hater.
Well, yeah, by the way, Jake, they're coming after you. Hard as easy is coming after you. I can't believe you just supported AI.
I know. God forbid. God forbid.
By the way, Hard as AI, he's not real. He's an AI.
Why do you think I'm not
pretty good?
He has 6 fingers on one hand.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, you don't want to see. There's nothing below the camera line. So I did want to. I was like, this is like such a silly segment, but I will. I had to bring it up. I bought something over the week because we talk so much about gear. This is such a little buy, and I don't know. I haven't like pulled up on. See if you guys can see this. Maybe not. Maybe so. Not a good gear reviewer. Yeah, it's too dark, right? Okay, let's just
here.
It's a hockey puck. Let me pull it up here. So little. It's $20. But this is if you use your phone for a monitor, and there's like not sponsored, no affiliate. You can see I bought this a couple of days ago. So Small Rig did not reach out to me at all. In fact, I reached out to them. They said, no, we don't want to help you. But this thing, so I use my phone for the Sony monitor and control app when I shoot with the A7S III or the FX3. I've been using the ZR control app for my ZR, which is like, has all of the actual functions you need in a professional monitor that the ZR doesn't give you. Peaking, waveforms, false color. Like, it's a great app that some like just creator built on their own. And so this thing, like, it MagSafes to my phone. Like, let me see if I can demo this. It's just MagSafes to your phone. And then that mounts with a quarter 20 to my monitor. It's just cool. And then the other thing that I thought was super cool about this is if you shoot with the iPhone, which I have, you can attach an SSD. Like, that's what this is for. So you can mount your SSD to the back of it. Because I literally, when I went out testing this, like I showed you guys a couple of weeks ago, my like test shots, I had a rubber band around my, just to hold the SSD in place. So this is my $20. You know, we talk about stuff that's like upwards of 10 grand. This was a $20 thing, and it's made my whole week. So,
and magnets are always fun.
It's the little things like that, though, like that change and make your life so much easier and so much better. Like, it is truly the little things that it doesn't have to be expensive, but it's like if that solves that problem, and it's like boom, amazing.
You know what? It made me think of you, Jake, because I got to keep working on this as my point to Jake, but
great.
One of the things you've said, which has stood out to me, and I know we've all talked about this in this like pocket war that's going on, is like your phone being your phone, right? Just existing as your phone. So I'm like, I have a monitor that I use a lot, but using your phone as a monitor is so nice.
I want to do that more. That's the thing. I haven't got into using my phone as a monitor, and it's something I 100% want to take advantage of more, because to be honest, like I have a small HD 5-inch monitor.
Yep.
It's lovely. I throw it on my Canon, throw it on my Blackmagics, but especially when I'm on the Canon, there's no like tap to focus or anything like that. And I'm like, and then I'm like unplugging, and I'm like, then I'm not using the monitor.
Right.
And so I'm like, I don't know what the best solution is. And I keep going, maybe it's a phone. The phone's also a little smaller, a little easier. It's going to be brighter, like little more low profile than having my, small HD monitor.
Right. But here's the thing that made me think of you, the MagSafe, because I went out and did this, just kind of a test shoot out at the beach last weekend. I used my ZR. I was just
Which I still haven't seen the footage of.
I know. I still need to, I literally was like downloading all the footage yesterday, but
I know it's about like 7,000 terabytes because
it's a 2-week backup just to get everything in from the ZR. Yeah. But when you clamp your phone down to the monitor, it's way more secure. So I get there are benefits of it, but having a MagSafe magnet lets it still be a phone. Like you can just, because I went like just kind of shot and tested this around the neighborhood yesterday just to play with it. And I was like, oh, you can literally, especially the monitor control for Sony and the Nikon apps are so responsive wireless. Like I don't need to put my phone in. So you gotta take a call or something. I just take it off. And so it's cool.
See, that's the thing, is like, I want to be able to start using my iPad and my phone as monitors. And so like, great, the iPad is the client monitor, or if I need to monitor a second, third camera. I have my phone, I have my iPad, and I'm able to monitor multicam with just the devices I already own.
Yeah. And Todd's already jumping in the chat, and I appreciate it, my dude. I do hard is easy. I totally agree. Like I have been out in some shoots in the summer of Florida that just would cook. I mean, you couldn't keep most of the camera stuff alive. So in those moments, I totally agree. Like it doesn't solve every purpose, but for like a little night shoot or a little event or something, it's nice to have. But yeah, it'll cook the screen pretty quick. And then to Jake, it's not your phone anymore. It's kind of, you're worried about charging it to have it be your monitor. It's a nice B monitor, Yeah.
But that's why I want to take advantage of the iPad more.
Yeah. Oh, dude, an iPad, especially with the monitor and control app. I know, I'm sorry, Jake, you're not a Sony person, but with that app, having a confidence monitor, like you can literally go give your client an iPad and just get to see everything, all the playback stuff on it. Sometimes that's good or bad, but like I've used that so much, like a 12-inch iPad Pro with monitor and control from Sony.
Oh. That's literally what I have. And, I just haven't gotten into it with the Canon, and, obviously Blackmagic doesn't have this yet, or at least that I'm not aware of. And so, but it really goes to show you, it's like you really have to stay on top of all of this new stuff. Like a year, things change so much so fast. And yes, you can get overwhelmed with it, or B, you can just go, does it really matter? But like a couple years later, like, wow, there's a lot easier way to do this. And it's just kind of interesting.
Todd, what are your thoughts?
I'm too ADHD, I think, for using the phone as the monitor, because as soon as something comes up on there, I'm distracted and I'm pulled out of the moment.
Just put it on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah, I guess, dude. But then it's like I have fallen way back into my phone is my phone mode, because I don't know if my wife needs to get a hold of me. If something's happening that's an emergency, I certainly don't want to be like, oh, I'm filming a commercial for the grocery store. Don't bother me. You lost how many limbs? I'll get back to you. Like I just my phone's my phone, and that's why I've fallen so in love with the Pocket stuff and the action cams and all of that, particularly. And 100%. I quit using my phone as any of those things, because it just, and it would bother me when I was trying to go all in. I had the small rig, the cage with the holder for the SSD and the battery thing and like the whole rig, and I would do it for clients and like interviews. Same thing would happen. Like, oh my God, something's happening over there on the phone. And I was like, I got to stop. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm over it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I will use that to segue into this kind of let the phone be the phone, and get back to kind of a more physical space. And I don't know if you guys have seen this. We talked a little bit about this offline, but Godox just released or is like teasing this. It's C100. This is like a camera. I don't know if you guys have seen this, camera with no screen. Like literally we went from the DSLRs with a mirror and you could see through it. It was an actual kind of physical way of seeing through your lens, to mirrorless, which was all digital display. And now no display, just clear glass and a camera that matches that to as close as they can get to that angle. And then you just literally it's super simple.
Do they have examples of what the photos look like?
Not yet. They haven't gone into any detail on it. It was such a weird little launch that they've just kind of, teased a little bit of this.
Any
nothing on the sensor
any
yet.
Tech specs?
No, that's our wheelhouse, right? That's the nerdy.
I know. That's what I'm like.
Okay, talk about.
How many megapixels? What's the f-stop? Like, let's just. What are
Okay, breaking news though. According to Godox, this is going to have a 175 megapixel sensor with 42 stops of dynamic range. So,
shut up. That's not true.
I'm like, wait. I got to put my glasses back on.
Well, and also just I'm a complete gearhead for nerdy stuff like that. So I'm sure Colden just text me the day it releases and I'll buy it so we can talk about it.
And that will be it's supposed to be on sale for like $30. So it's almost like a toy, but not. It's just an interesting.
It could be. Hard and Easy's got some breaking news. It could be FX5 killer.
I think it is. Guys, put your pre-orders in now.
Yeah.
You can pre-order it for $129 and then it'll go on. It's the GoPro method. It'll just go on sale for $29, but you pre-order it now for $150.
It's the Hasselblad killer. It's just a stills camera, right?
Yeah. No, I mean it's gonna put every other camera manufacturer out to.
But honestly, though, for $30, it's a perfect little Okay, I'm gonna give a ridiculous story. I was at a kind of a shishi fancy fun dinner date with my wife the other night, and these two girls sat. So we're sitting, and there's these two girls who sat at a table across where only I could see, behind my wife, and they just spent the dinner basically taking photos of their food. They not only were on the phone, but then they had these little pocket camera, basically the GF Canon power shots. I don't know. They had two of those, each of them, but with rubber mounts around it. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I literally, they were just taking photos and videos. The salad came out. They barely ate any food. I'm like, are you just here to take but to me, that's the perfect audience. It's not only, and it was very funny on a similar corollary story, talking to a contact who works at Fuji. And he's like, I don't get the hype. And he works at Fuji. And he's like, I don't get the hype of the XV106s. He's like, they're just pocket cameras. Why are they becoming accessories for influencers now? And it was hilarious him bashing on his own product, essentially. He's like, they're good, but like they're pocket cameras.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't get the craze of why they're sold out and why everybody wants to have them as like little arm candy. But I see those and it totally reminds me of like that kind of like Japanese. And again, this is going to be very racist in a respect. Whereas like Asian culture, I don't know exactly what Asian culture, but I, see different photos because I'm not 100% up on Asian culture, but like that Asian culture fashion accessory, like it feels very of that. And so I think it'll do well if they produce semi-decent photos. I think it's 100% a camera that you're going to want to take a behind the scenes of with your phone. And
look at what I'm doing with
it's
this
a photo of a camera. Like you're going to 100% take behind the scenes of it. It's a very Instagrammable gear. And I think it could be hot take. It could be the next Labubu.
Well,
it might get that big, but it has that like kitschy, cool feeling to it. I saw it, I was like, fuck it. I mean, it's $30,
The camera thing too, back to your buddy Fuji. The thing is, this generation is doing the same thing. Look, they're rebelling against the phone. Not these two girls who are at the restaurant, because clearly they're using every device possible. But the pocket cam has become extremely popular, but in the weird way that like cassette tapes made a brief resurgence. Like that was a terrible music delivery system. I had a car full of cassette tapes that would melt in the sun. Everything got ruined. They're not great. I don't know why we got a romance for them. You know what's great is just streaming my music. I'm sorry. I know I'm not an audiophile, but all of these old media are bad. But this generation, it's just like, oh, you had it better when you were younger. We want that back. And it's like, no, this stuff's better now. I promise you. We were living it. It's better now.
But I think it's priced nice. It feels priced like a toy, not a camera. And I think that's what makes it a fun accessory. Like, cool. Like I got, for example, one of those 3D printed lenses that have the disposable lens in it.
Oh, yeah.
I used, and again, it was like $40. I used it twice, and I was like, everything's blurry. There is no actual focus point in it. I'm like, all right, it's now in my cupboard, and I don't use it. But
it gave me a feel of like the Polaroid generation, like how that has become kind of a fun thing. And the same way, like Insta360 and their Ace Pro 2 kind of bundled this with a printer. I don't know. I could just see like it's not the highest quality. Your iPhone's going to beat it. Any camera's going to beat it. It might not actually kill the FX5. I hate to, break it to you guys. Although I do believe that it does have a 260 megapixel sensor, whatever I said before. But I think it's like that Polaroid experience where you like. And I do think there are niches. I mean, back to what you said, Jake, about the Fuji is like sometimes an experience of using the camera is almost as important as the output of the image, because you kind of remember the moment of being able to use that camera.
Yeah. Colden just dropping the philosophical wisdom.
Yeah.
That was beautifully said, Colden.
I'm going to make a t-shirt. Yeah.
You go. Todd is the artist here. If you haven't followed Todd on YouTube, Todd, what's your YouTube channel? Just so we can make sure we shout that out and go follow you as well.
It's at Todd Video, all one word.
At Todd Video. All right, I'll pull that up too, and we'll throw to it at the end. And let's jump into because Blake, I see you hovering here, and man, I had it teased as well. So we've got a new leak, and unfortunately that pushes our faces weird. So we will do this first, and then we'll go. So there is a new leak or a new post by Andre Pizzini about this FX5. Jake, we covered this so much last week. I did a video on it.
An hour on it, yeah.
Yeah, we don't necessarily need to dig into it, although this is like a fun one to get to talk about. So Andre is mentioning here 16 megapixels. So before the show, Todd and I were kind of, Googling it and trying to do the math. That's only like 5.6, 5.8K. So you're not like, my prediction was a 6K sensor. I'll be interested to see, man, if they do this 16. What do you guys think? I feel like it's not shocking to me that this might be that this is accurate, that Sony is going to do a 16 megapixel, maybe global, maybe not. We do get a triple base ISO, which is kind of cool. And then the XOCN internal RAW, which we'll talk about in a minute. But like, I don't know, 16, is that enough to compete with everything else on the market right now?
Well, my question to you is this. So I don't know the latter as well as you do, because I don't live in that. I work in very lower budget productions, right? But
Sure.
What's the camera? You had the 3 cameras that was going to be, you thought, this tier where we had this one, and then was it the what was there was
Burano.
Burano, and then like a Vista or something, or what's the
Venice?
Venice.
Venice is their kind of flagship premium camera.
So are those 8K?
No.
Yes, both of them are 8K.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. So when
8.6. I know, because I had to do all of my research on the Burano because it kind of feels like it would fit right under the Burano. Burano's 8.6K.
This feels like they have dropped back to the, what would that be, like 2010 Canon model, where like, we're going to have this be the replacement of the FX3. We're not going to give you 8K until you buy this level. It's what it feels like.
Well, and Hard as Easy points this out though too. Like the A7S has a 12 megapixel sensor, but because you've got bin pixels, like, and honestly, I've been a huge, like I have the A7S III, I have the FX3, like they are phenomenal sensors. You don't need a billion megapixels. In fact, as you break up a sensor, like you're only shooting a full frame sensor. That's one size of a sensor. When you break it up into 1 million pixels versus you break it up into 12 megapixels, like you're going to get bigger photo sites. That's why the FX3 is such a killer in low light, because those actual pixels are bigger than 100 megapixel full frame.
You know, Hard and Easy is doing the math for us.
Yes.
Yeah. But those FX3s, the image quality is so good out of them. I just have a hard time worrying about more. Like, you know what I mean? It's such a good picture.
Yeah.
We've used that for some concert shoots, and like I was blown away, even in the weird mixed lighting, that comes from a stage, and the skin tones. I was like, this is such a beautiful camera. Like I don't know. I know things are going to go forward, but to what end?
Not being a Sony shooter, I had to just look up what's the megapixels of the FX3. So for those who are, I guess, weird, I don't know, we might be the weirdos or the who's the normies here. Regardless, it's a 12.1 megapixel camera, the FX3. Right. So at, what the rumors, 16 megapixels, like, okay, it is a better, than the FX3. But if you're getting that look out of the FX3 already, Todd, I mean, again, you're right. Which is like, hey, if you want that, you're going to go to the Burano. You're going to go to, a Sony Venice and, add 3 more zeros to the cost of this camera.
Paul, welcome. I see Paul's comment here too. He and I, we've been, Todd, Paul and I have been chatting about the extra. So we are going to get into the extra a little later, because we had another creator on Todd's show. He's got some sauce on that. But no need for more FX3s. They said, I fully agree with that. Here's my thought though here's my concern. Okay. Here's my concern on megapixels. And I'm so the one that will say, like, you don't need more. I've been a huge fan of the FX3. That is a 4-year-old camera, right? FX6, almost a 5-year-old camera. At this point, so 4K, think about when they came out with the FX3, where 4K was, in terms of all of our deliveries 4 years ago, what were you delivering? And now, what is the norm or the expectation, right? Like, Todd, you just bought a little pocket camera with 8K. I'm not saying we need 8K, but I'm also saying, like, 4 years from now, are we future-proofed enough that when YouTube's deliveries are 5, 6, 8K, you know what I mean? Like, because that FX3 has held its value because it was at least, like, at that level. Yeah, there were some 6K, some 8K, some, like, obviously the red sensors were huge, but like we had enough future proofing where today we're still using the FX3 and it looks beautiful. That's my only push, you know, my only hope for 6.
I got news for you guys. As my primary workhorse right now, I'm still using the FS5 and I love it. And it is beautiful and it's way old. Like I can't get myself to sell it. It is such a good sensor. So I don't know.
We've talked about that in the past, Todd, Colden and I, which was, there was a post that I saw, I don't know, it was about a year ago, maybe 6-8 months ago, where it was like, your favorite movies, your favorite art has been shot now on outdated camera gear. And it was a big thing, was like, you can buy the blank Alexa, the blank Red. Again, I'm not a super tech guy, but like that shot these movies for like $3,000, $5,000. That like your favorite movies were shot on these cameras that are now completely outdated. And, you know, the one argument is like, yes, they're heavy, they're bigger, they're they're chunky, they're this, they're that. Like, but like, I know that it's the argument on the, you could say the camera side, on the kind of the lower grade side, like with the 5D Mark II. It completely changed photography. You can probably get a 5D Mark II. I'm actually curious. I'm going to look this up right now.
Super cheap.
eBay.
Oh, I'm going to go $800. I'm going to price this right and say no more than $800 for a
Todd,
5D Mark II, which
what
was
do you
a
think?
great
5D Mark II.
grand.
I think he's right. And that's my plan now. Because I work for myself and I'm not like some big production house, I'll probably buy, if this comes out, great, I'm going to get an FX. Because I think it's how it's how you use the camera. I just did a job for a client and I have a testimonial from him. He was so thrilled. He said the previous work that he'd had for him, he paid a lot of money. The guy worked at the TV station. He and his wife came in and produced his stuff, and mine destroyed theirs. And he was like, if you pop a nice lens on and you know what you're doing and you do the lighting right, a good 4K camera still translates to at least my customers,
I 100%.
Todd, what's your vote for 5D Mark II? How much do you think it's selling for right now?
Well, since he said I'm not going to just play safe, I'll say I'm going to go with
$799.
5D Mark II. Let's go $550.
Y'all are both very wrong.
What happened?
It is selling. This is what is actually being sold for: $165, $205, $250, $85, $193. This camera changed photography.
Yeah,
totally. I would argue it changed like low budget film work.
Well,
too, though.
I think the Rebel T2i did it before that.
But this is
5D
T2i was
first. 5D,
and this was at the pro level. This was at the pro level, and it changed. The T2i was a very prosumer.
That was a consumer
prosumer. Consumer.
Yeah.
This was at the pro level. Like if
5D,
this was the top of the game until you went to medium format, to Hasselblad, etc. Right?
Okay.
And you can get the camera now for under $200.
Yeah.
And it really just goes to show you, like, yes, we can get nice gear and you can get the newest gear, but like, this is the gear that created the art that we love. And it's like, it's just constantly go back to get really good at your craft, because that's what matters. It's how you use the gear, not the gear you own.
Now Jake is dropping it. Well done.
Hey, I brought this segment. You set the bar. I had to like, okay, I gotta drop a line too. Todd, you're next.
Love it.
I've got one for you. Wait, well, go ahead. I'll bring up my line for you.
You want to go? I want your wisdom before we move on.
Well, what I want you to do, I wish I could show. I wish I could. Can I share my screen?
You can.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
You share that. Well, no, I'll wait. We'll wait because we got to get Todd's wisdom here before we move on. I got one more thing to talk about the FX.
Where's this?
And guys in our chat, everybody who's watching, I want your input here.
Share screen.
We got to rank Todd's wisdom.
But again,
hold
on.
He
needs 8K.
I'm just gonna do this, and we're gonna go right here.
All right, Todd, I got you.
Do you see it?
Yes.
Yep.
There you go.
Zoom it. Can you zoom it in? Command plus. Get it? Yeah, there we go.
Story first,
gear second.
Gear second. Amen.
I would always that's you guys as the directors, and I so appreciate being able to work with. Oh, I was like, why am I on the screen?
Oh, he closed it out. I think he
No, it's okay. I think we got it. Yeah, we're good. Don't worry.
Okay.
It's Jake. It's just you and I that break stuff.
I'm here.
I love getting to work with.
We broke it again.
I love getting to work with good directors that help me craft the story. I would say from the DP side.
Oh no.
How you light and what did we lose? Oh, I can't see your hat. What does it say? Director? What does it say?
Fujifilm.
Yeah, Fujifilm. Okay.
I'm back.
Okay. Oh, we lost Todd for a second. I was wondering what was going on. But as a cinematographer, how you light, how you compose is always going to be better, right? I do have a question though, because a crappy picture of the FX5 on his YouTube. Okay. Let's I want to see this in terms of maybe I'll pull that up at some point. It says Hard is Easy says that Andre's posting pictures of the FX5 on his YouTube. So let's go see in a minute. But my question though is what I was more interested in almost, I think, than higher megapixel is this idea that they might be bringing in the Venice's XOCN internal RAW recording into this new camera. And so to you guys, like what's your experience with RAW? Is that worth it versus higher megapixels? Like where do you see that? And guys in the chat, RAW or megapixels?
Well, it's super interesting because again, like I haven't played a lot with RAW. And I mean, I know it from a photo standpoint of like the difference between photo RAW versus photo JPEG, like night and day. Now, I haven't seen the same latitude. Well, granted, I probably also haven't pushed it as far in terms of the video standpoint of like using B-RAW and being like, oh, look at how much I can save this. Like I haven't done, because again, being the director, not a DP first and foremost, I haven't nerded out about that. I go, great, on set, let's try to, and again, it's similar with photography. With when I do it is I try to get it as close to correct on set so that in post, I don't have to do much unless I'm going for something creatively in post that I can't actually do on set, you know?
Right.
But, you know, and again, more megapixels, more not. Again, I haven't done enough testing to go, oh yeah, that's going to be the thing that I care about. And, you know, versus that in terms of space though, you know, I definitely know the compression makes a difference for what you shoot, you know.
And I think you just tapped into where I see true RAW versus maybe what B-RAW is. And I'd have to double check. Maybe somebody in the chat can fact check me here. But like, I constantly will always kind of compare. And I came up through film school and kind of learning at the Red 1 level. Why does the Red 1 look so much better? That's always my comparison. Or now it's even like the Alexa has a really beautiful look. Like, why do those cameras look different than what the 5D Mark II did, or the 7D, or the FX3? Like, what is that? And to me, when you shoot RAW, or when you shoot at a more open, you know, codec, you're getting like red code RAW on the V Raptor is 16 bits. Compare that to like, what are we all excited about on the FX3 or on, you know, it's 10 bit on these new Pocket cameras too, right? You get 10 bit. So if you're talking about like multiples of millions more colors in your gradient, to me, that is that look that is so much harder to replicate than if you just gave me a 42 megapixel sensor. Like, I don't need that as much as the color depth makes a huge difference.
And that's where you get actual celluloid, actual 35, I mean, even actual 16, like really makes a difference. But then, you know, just to bring it up from the comments, I know we're here for a second, but just to, you know, like how much does lighting matter, right, for the camera? And 100%, I agree. Lighting is 100% the thing that matters. Like,
get more lights.
You can have
lights
again, going back to the 5D Mark II. Like, you can have a 5D Mark II and have it beautifully lit. And this was like, it truly is. I did a campaign for a client literally just like 2 weeks ago. I shot the whole damn thing on my iPhone 15 or 14 or whatever it is. Not even the newest iPhone 17 Pro Max Ultra. I shot it in the iPhone mode, not even in Black Magic app.
Nice.
In the iPhone mode. And it looks fabulous. You know why? Is because I freaking lit the scene.
Yep.
Yeah, lighting.
I lit it, and it looks great.
And not only that, we're in this wonderful space to add to that, Jake, where the lights last a lot longer. There's no bulbs. They're LEDs. They, as long as you don't plug them in bad, like we talked about on the channel, like you blow it up, that's fine. Different topic. But they last and last and last. They don't get hot. And
they don't get hot.
And the prices come down so much. And there's so many, I would advise whoever that was, Ken, like there are so many wonderful YouTubers. Like I have learned so much over the years just watching these guys show lighting setups and okay, this is what works, and learned everything from book lighting to, single lighting and everything in between. And these guys share it all for free. And I'm 100% with Jake. And actually, when I first started getting into this business, I was gripping for a guy here in town. He was like Akron's a small town. He had a grip truck that was 30 feet long. And I was like, what is this? And like, he would tell me to go get things. And I learned everything on the scene, like go get the platypus and this. And I was like the other grip, like, what's the platypus? He's like, I'll show you. But he's like, go get that. And I was like, okay. And but I learned so much because that guy, the first time I showed up on a job, and I had done just little stuff on my own before, he turned off every light in the whole space. And he just started going area by area. Okay, now that, and now that. And he would paint with light. And I was like, oh, this is why it looks cinematic. And so to Jake's point, you could shoot on anything if you light it right. Put your money in lights.
100%. But also, like, there's a great quote from Deacons is how he first started off was he would just go to Home Depot.
Oh, yeah.
And he would just go to Home Depot, get lights, get diffusion, get like very cheap, whatever, and cut your teeth on that. Like, you don't need to, like, and now it's obviously so much more affordable with Amarin, Nanlite, Godox, like all these companies making cheap, really high grade gear. But you don't need any of that. You could go to Home Depot, get lights, get bad gels, like then work your way up to going, great, now I'm going to invest in a $300 light, a $500 light, a $200 thing of diffusion. Great.
Yeah,
it's the Curry Barker of learning how to light. You just
light,
get it and just cheap first, and then practice.
Yeah,
and get any friend model who was like, "Hey, stand here and look pensive. Look out the window. Read a book." Like it was something that I did with my wife over COVID. We were locked up in the house, and I went, "Great, I want to light." I got the MC, those little MC lights that we see right here. The blue, the orange, these little whites. I just got them. And I was like, let me shoot 10 different scenes just with these.
Yeah.
And I shot 10 little vignettes, which ironically, then I just saw today on Instagram a video of a camera test that David Fincher did with DiCaprio. And it's absolutely fabulous where literally DiCaprio, and they were testing low light of the red, of an early red. This was many years ago. And he just lights a match, lights a cigar, holds the match up to the camera, blows it out. And it's a little 30-second little thing. But just the idea of where to put the camera. And you're doing this all with just a match. Okay. The ability as a DP to go, okay, how does this work? How do we do that? Do we need to put a little reflector here to get a little bit of a bounce from the match? How do we do that? Like, and those are the things as a DP that you can practice. And, then you work on $1 million film set and you're like, oh, we only need this, this, and this, and this. It's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's the easy part.
I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I'm going to jump back to this really quick just because Hard is Easy's pulling the same video up that I've got, and I'm kind of checking in on this as well. So this was Andre Panzini's new video he just posted a couple minutes ago, where this is the screen of the camera supposedly. So, I mean, you can see kind of, we've got full frame, 5K 3x2, 17:9, 16:9, all in 5K. And then Hard is Easy mentioned this before. You got FFC mode, which is a full frame crop mode. So you can, it uses the full frame or the full sensor. Interesting. It's interesting.
So wait,
I don't know.
Is this from the FX5?
This is, according to what Andre just posted, this is
How
like
is he
he's got.
But how is he getting?
Dude,
this?
he's so good at this. Like
Is he just bribing people in Japan who are making these cameras?
No, they just have figured out how they're using the DJI model for launching this camera.
Well, he's been doing this a long time. I don't want
things and then.
Yeah, if you don't follow his channel and you are interested
I'm
in
not
Sony,
a Sony guy, Colden.
No, Jake, you don't get to follow.
On.
You don't get to follow. Everybody else should go follow Andre because he breaks this stuff way more than anybody else. And he has developed a network. I mean, he's wrong half the time too, but the stuff that he's right about, that he gets excited about, usually comes out. So I'm interested to see. I mean, talk about not a great photo of the actual camera. Let's see. He punched in on it.
He looks like a conspiracy theorist.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So he looks like the Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philly meme.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. So here's the camera that we're gonna talk about. What's gonna happen.
Here's what nobody's talking about. And I feel bad because the FX5, whatever, got all this hype. We have not talked about the potential of Sony coming out with this camera, the RX10. I don't know. This was such a funny thing that they're supposed to be coming out with earlier in July. And Jake, I think we talked about. This is like the weirdest camera. I bought this and I was like, so story time. The RX10 Mark II was the very first Sony camera that I ever bought that got me into this Sony ecosystem. And it's like, it's fixed. It's got a built-in lens. I bought it. Jake, we actually talked about this when we started like dumping on GoPro, because the RX10 Mark II did a crop. It has a 1-inch sensor that did a cropped 960 frames a second. And I bought it because I was like, holy cow, this is like basically like a phantom camera for $1,000. It's just an interesting camera. I don't know who else is excited about this RX10 Mark 6 or whatever supposed to be coming out.
No.
All right. Well, we got off track here. We got way off track.
We can move on. We can move on. Paul, I'm with you on. Well, Paul hates rumors, and I agree. It really gets people excited about things that don't exist, but it's fun sometimes. It's fun if it comes true. Hey, do a bingo board and it makes everything more fun.
That's
if you predict on a bingo board.
That segment yesterday because then it's light. Then it's like, hey, what could it be? How right are we? I don't know. Rather than, okay, this is what it's gonna be. I like that. I think we need to do that for more rumors and future cameras. Well, you know, where it's like, great, and welcome to the bingo board.
Well, I will tell you, it's double fun because it was fun to make it. But when we get this camera announcement, we will go live with that bingo board and we'll see how right.
Cool, and I think you need to make a bingo board bumper. Try to say that 5 times fast. Bingo board bumper.
Bingo board bumper.
Bingo board bumper. Bingo board bumper. Yeah. All right. Todd, RAW.
What?
Do you care about RAW? Do you not care about RAW?
I'm split. I to what your point, I shoot exclusively stills always with RAW. I love the workflow for that. I tried RAW back in the Blackmagic days. In today's world, at the price of SSDs, the question is who's paying for it? If I'm working for a big studio and they want to pay for all that storage, let's go. Otherwise, never, ever, ever touch it. What I love in my mind is the in-between, and that is log footage. That gets me what I need. Raw is awesome, and I'm not making anything that requires raw. That's insanity.
I agree. I look at it. This is at the moment from this conversation. This is the stance I now have, which is depending on the degree of coloring I'm going to do. I do so much social content that to shoot, not even in log, but in just Rec 709, do a little judge and call it a day. Like,
yeah,
if that even, just light it well, shoot it in Rec 709, get it out. Like, I think any of the short films or feature films, that makes sense to shoot in RAW or at least in log, obviously in log.
Yeah.
But, it would be worth doing it in that because you're going to really, I saw that on my senior thesis when we shot in log or RAW, whatever it was. This was over a decade ago, and we like colored it. And I happened to have a friend who was a professional colorist and show me what coloring could do. And I went, oh, wow. That's what you can do with DaVinci. And I also realized I was going to be completely overwhelmed by coloring very early on. And I was like, this is something I'm never going to learn and never going to get good at. And I accepted my fate at 22 years old. And I'm still battling that into my 30s. But that's what I would see the value of RAW is. Like, where's this camera going for? What is the degree of post-production you're going to use it for?
I will say to that end, log has its use, especially today, in less expensive cameras because it cuts out the camera processing, and that's the part that ruins the footage. So that's where log becomes very valuable. Now, it is a pain if you're just doing quick social hits or whatever, but it looks better. It just looks better.
100%. Again, it just depends on the degree of coloring you're going to use, and that's my 2 cents. Colden?
Yeah.
So I'll just go back, and I got a fact to kind of back up my thought. And I'm probably conflating this. Like, you guys can tell me too, between you two and chat, that I'm wrong, because it's not necessarily raw, but it's not like log is kind of different. Log's a contrast curve, basically. Yeah. What I'm more interested in, and right now, I guess I don't know of another camera that can get the same color bit depth without shooting raw. If you can shoot in, a compressed codec, even if it's not raw, I think a lot of people, especially in like creator world, so take not the filmmakers, but like us on YouTube, the creator world takes raw as I don't have to white balance, and I can fix it all later. I don't have to worry about my exposure, my ISO. Like, I don't look at it that way because it, like we talked about earlier, like it's never going to fix bad lighting. It's never going to fix 32-bit floats great, but it's not going to fix if you like put your microphone somewhere bad or put it in a rustly pocket. Like, you still need good technique. So I've never looked at raw as I need this because I'm not going to white balance. No, I'm going to make sure that I shoot a gray card before whatever I'm shooting. So I've never had that issue. It's like we talked about on your show, like forgetting an SD card. Like, there are some things I'm not going to have an issue with. But just take, so I was interested, and I pulled this number up really quick. Take the Sony FX5, which shoots in S-Log 3 at 10-bit versus like a Red V Raptor that shoots red code at 16-bit. The difference on that, on 10-bit, you get 1.07 billion colors. That's a lot of color. But with just stepping up to the V Raptor log, you get 281 trillion colors. So then just like take that to like the very silly little like gradient experiment on Photoshop, and like just do a gradient on Photoshop and go to 8-bit versus 16-bit and watch what that gradient does in terms of how it breaks up different color blocks, right? And that's, to me, where that's the only part of camera technology that you can't fix with good lighting, or like you can get close and a good log profile can help you. But I always think that what makes that image look so different from a V Raptor or film to a 10-bit, I mean, think about that many colors. That's the only thing that I would be interested in with, a RAW profile, is if you can get to that kind of color depth.
I know we're way off track already, but I have a tangential question related to this. As we're talking about 4K and 5K and 8K future proofing, the thing I'm kind of counting on is I'm seeing a very fast march forward in AI upresing. And I kind of wonder if 5 years from now, if not, my 4K file will look wonderful upresed to 8K because they have got that science down by then. So that's another thing that's like, I wonder how much we worry about that when that is actually what I would consider a useful use for artificial intelligence is, oh yeah, that just future-proofed my old work. So I don't know.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Yeah.
I'll put my AI on then before, just because the only thing I would say on the AI upresing is, at that point, you've just given your work to Topaz or Google AI, or like talk about using your work to train new models.
True.
Like so I get it, and it is good technology, but like, look at what Adobe's done in terms of training their models on all of your Photoshop files. Like, you agreed to Adobe Cloud, we get access to all of that stuff. Whatever you save there, we're going to train our models on it. So that's just there is a benefit to having something in hand, on the device, versus going like, well, I'll just ship this off to UpRes, because that's my only tinfoil hat section on that.
In a similar but different, just kind of a cool datum. I don't know if you guys, I probably forwarded it to you, Colden, on Instagram, as I send pretty much everything to you on Instagram now.
Yeah.
On the Odyssey coming out in a couple weeks, their post flow. Todd, have you seen anything on it?
No.
All right. Well, hear this. So this is pretty freaking cool, in my opinion. It's like, this is how it's, in my opinion, like the true, like, yes, this is how we do it. But it also, there's an aspect of it. So they shot the entire film on IMAX on 70mm film. They then digitize the entire film, edit the whole thing digitally. Then there's markers, and they actually cut the negatives and recut it correctly, like how they did in actual film, how you would cut it. You would literally slice the film stock, make the edits for the entire film out of all of the millions of feet of negative. Then what they did was they colored it, most likely in DaVinci, in a digital format. They then export the specifications of that color into a dye, where they dye the film stock itself, the negative, and then print the negative into a positive. And they made, I think it was like 40 or something like that, positives that are being sent around the country, so you can get the actual film. It was just cool to like actually break down how they did it. It was not just like, oh, we're gonna edit it all, and because the way I thought they were doing, because I know how they originally did it, which is kind of that, but minus you take out the computer side, you actually edit the actual film, then you color it, then you print positives. But I thought, and I could be wrong on it, was that they would do it all in post and then just do a digital print of it, and then make digital prints, but off of purely a creation of it, a digital print, digital coloring, rather than this one. They did it fully analog. And I just recently shot a client who was printing a vinyl album. And so I got to see them actually make the master, similar to the exact same process, but for music, where they made it all and then they printed it on tape, on music tape, and then they use that tape to then print a master vinyl, which they're going to use to press their vinyl album for this release. And it was cool to see that process and then hear about this process in the Odyssey. I know we've taken it totally fully off track, but just from the standpoint of like what matters, coloring, raw, like that is true raw.
That's,
at
I mean,
any
that's
point, at any point,
keeping it
did they
analog.
at any point were they able to then put Brad Pitt in his Achilles instead? I was just curious.
You know, that we will find that out. I think it's on the 17th.
All the hate's coming at me
Fully
now.
AI'd Brad Pitt back in. This whole analog process, and then they just put it all through AI to put Brad Pitt in instead.
He was phenomenal as Achilles. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, they could not have casted a better Achilles.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see on July 17th.
Well, let's jump into totally like, and I don't know, Jake, you've gotten so good at this. I don't know a better way to like rope this back into what we should be talking about, but we brought Todd on because Todd got to have an creator on that has had hands with this new Muse
2
Extra
Pro.
Muse 2 Pro. I apologize for everybody. I'm going to either call it the 4P or the DJI or the Extra, or like, it's all the same.
Same camera.
Basically the same camera, same specs. So there are some trade-offs that are interesting because there's been a lot more information about this camera now that's kind of come out in the last, I don't know what, 10 days, Todd, that you've kind of been researching. And I think you have more of a grain in your gears here because you have now the Luna. And so what the difference is between, but for everybody that may be watching this segment, you also pre-ordered the Extra Muse 2 Pro.
I did. I put in the reservation.
Yep.
I may be calling that refund in because the stuff that I'm hearing and the stuff that she confirms, Sophie, loved having her on the show. I don't love it. I don't love what they've done, and this is
on what specifically? Because we've talked about like 8 cameras in this intro.
Yeah,
we gotta define what we're talking about.
Well, I'm gonna explain that to you. So we're talking about the launch of the Extra Muse 2 Pro, and let's be honest, the DJI Pocket 4P. They are ostensibly the same camera. The specs are the same. Colden and I found a spreadsheet. You know, they're claiming the LOFIC processor is in the Luna, that there are the 17 stops of dynamic range, that it does have log profile. Well, like they've done all the things. The stuff that is coming out, I find frustrating, and I say this, and I'm going to light up your channel with this fun too. Tinfoil hat time, everybody. I'm pretty certain DJI had spies working at Insta. Saw what Insta was cooking up, and there was a scramble to the finish line to try to create a camera to keep up with Insta's innovations. So the 2 camera system is interesting because there is, because the sensors are so different that the D-Log 2 that they're promoting, that's like a hot thing, and it's kind of like industry standard, only works on one of the cameras. If you want to, as you try to switch over to the other camera, it says, oh, that's not supported. And you have to switch to a different log profile mid-shoot.
In the lenses?
Yes.
How is it?
Made because it's 2 different.
Wait, sorry, hold on. Because we've talked about 3 different cameras. We have the Ultra, the Insta360 Ultra, the DJI 4P, Pocket 4P, and then the Muse. I don't know.
So just know that I'm talking about all of this is the Muse 2 and the Pocket 4P. They're the same camera. They're the same camera. There are differences cosmetically, but all the research.
Who cares?
All the research and everything that's being posted. Look, if it's not the same camera, then they should definitely be getting sued by DJI. Because it's using the same sensor, it's using the same form factor, it's using the same lens structure, it's using the same menu system. Everything's the same. So if you're gonna sue Insta, you gotta sue Muse. They're not. It's the same camera. They have even said.
Are we talking, conspiracy again? I love the tinfoil hat episodes. Are we talking shell company?
No, because it's been because
it's in the U.S. market.
No, well. It's not. I don't know how they said we have paid for the intellectual rights to use this.
Okay.
So that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying on paper. It's the same thing. Paul is correct. They are the same camera.
So it is. Yeah.
So that's problem number one, is that when you're trying to switch lenses, you have to either commit to the lesser log option or know that you have to switch between the two.
Wow.
The other is the
and
slow-mo.
that's on the Muse and on the DJI 4P.
Yes.
So
Currently,
the Luna
least,
is, but the Luna doesn't
currently.
do that. The Luna Ultra.
The Luna does not do that. No.
Okay.
It moves smoothly between them. It's awesome. I don't know about the Luna because no one's talked about it, but the 4P doesn't even include a way to protect the gimbal. There's no case, there's no clamp, there's nothing. They give you a bag to put it in. Okay, you're going to snap that head off in a minute. The slow-mo doesn't support log, so you can't use log in the slow-mo. Right. And that was the other thing. You're going to love this one, Jake. So they have the 240p in camera 1. In camera 2, it's capped at 200. Why would that be? I couldn't even explain it. But they not only does it can't support the log, it can't support the slow-mo at the same rate. So these two, it's so what I said, and I think I made this video already, or I'm gonna. I can't remember if I already, because my wrap up, because I've just been ranting on this a lot. I'm like, it's not just a 2-lens camera; it's a 2-camera camera. It's two different. It's 2 cameras.
Wow.
And it just seems like too much too much work.
The Ultra. Screw DJI. Screw Muse.
The Ultra's been awesome.
Wins.
Yeah,
but going back to here's the only thing I can say, and like full speculation, like full disclaimer, none of us have either of those 2 cameras to test.
Correct.
So it's more kind of just getting to, we're spec sheet reading.
Yeah,
I
so
can't stand spec sheet readers, but we are spec sheet readers at the moment.
But except that Sophie has used the camera, and I sent you 2 other YouTube links of guys who have camera in hand who have confirmed everything I've said. Yeah,
for sure. My only thing, and we talked about this on your show, but for here, I will just like re-emphasize or kind of explain. I don't know, I haven't seen any like true like fact, like somebody got this, either the DJI or the Extra Muse, and like tore it apart to see what sensor they're using. But if they're using this lo-fi chip, which is maybe one of the ways that they can get 17 stops of dynamic range. So basically, if you're shooting a scene and it clips, all of your highlights are overexposed. That means basically you can see it on a waveform, right, in DaVinci or Premiere, where it's just a flat line. Basically, this secondary chip would take everything that overspills that flat line into a second processor, into a second chip, and then basically be able to process that signal and then merge it back into your image. So the way I explained it on Todd's channel was like, think of recording audio at a safety track. You have a right and a left channel, and one's a little bit louder than the other one, so that if you ever shout into the microphone, you can always bring it back down in post and you haven't clipped. We did that forever before we had 32-bit float. So if they're using that sensor, which I haven't seen any confirmation of, would love to see some confirmation of that. If they're using that sensor, and that's it's not just like neural processing to get 17 stops of dynamic range. It's actually a different chipset. It's a different process to get that. And like we said earlier, it's actually on device instead of this like computational photography that we've talked about, where it just gets, processed through and brought down in certain places. That's a cool technology, and would explain at least some of the funkiness, or some of the, like, I would be worried about buying this camera thinking like, oh, firmware is just going to fix that. Because if it's a total, like you said, Todd, if it's a totally, you're getting basically 2 different cameras, then you have this incredible technology in your normal 24 lens or whatever that, that regular lens is. You have this great sensor in there. Is it worth, because what I have seen and what I can speak to, you have DJI products too. I said this when we covered the Luna coming out at the very beginning, Insta360's color science has always been, let's say, less mature than DJI, who's been doing this since their Phantom line of drones. Like they've had 2 decades to really tune the way their sensor works with their chip and their colors. The stuff that I've seen from that 24mm lens looks incredible. But it's kind of like, do you want that fluid system that's maybe 14 stops of dynamic range all the way through with a zoom that you can just kind of, I love the Insta360's little zoom rocker on the handle that you just zoom in and it's smooth and fluid. Like, do you want that? You came on last time you were on the show and you said, oh, this is a perfect dad cam. And I saw somebody in your comments be like, we have to call it a dad cam. It was a great analogy, though. It gave you like a visual of what the Luna can be used for so well, which is literally just like take it out, shoot it, point it at something, it works, versus what it feels like we've come out with is like this DJI one or Extra Muse is a little quirkier because they've been trying to kind of UI fix 2 totally different sensor technologies. It's cool that they're building it in. I mean, if this works well, I'd love to see that type of technology implemented more all the way through. I think you said on your show, if they did both, like lo-fi chips in both, man, that would be great, because then you'd have the same processor.
Correct.
I don't know enough, but that would be, it's kind of like one is, and it's fair kind of where they've marketed it, although Extra has kind of gone after this, like anybody who wants to be a creator can, but DJI went, no, this is a filmmaker tool. We're going to release this at Cannes Film Festival. That makes almost now more sense.
And that's all of that weird marketing and that rush and still haven't delivered a product is what makes me think like they got caught with their shorts down when Insta showed up with this thing. Oh, I just lost. Oh yeah. They got caught and they were like, and so this got rushed as opposed to really finished. And, and people will be like, well, the Insta is a first gen product. My argument is that I think it's really a 1.5 gen product. They also have had a lot of time working with their 360 cams, with their action cams. And so there's no reason to consider this to be afraid of it. And there is color science differences. And one that I don't love is that you kind of need to overexpose intentionally. It doesn't maintain the shadows very well. It does do well with the highlights, but the shadows kind of turn black.
Is this the Luna you're talking about?
The Luna.
Oh, okay.
The Luna. But so if you love the color science of DJI and you're a DJI fan, and I am, I might just get a Pocket 4 because I don't want that camera. The double camera system is just too weird to me. Like I can't. It doesn't function like I want it to.
But at the end of the day, what is better for behind the scenes vertical content? Because that is all it is, folks.
That's the same. I'll tell you what though. The one thing, and Colden has seen it. You'd have to rig it. But let's be honest, right? If you have a Canon or whatever, you're rigging it sideways too, right? For vertical, you are. So if you were to mount this sideways, it has built. Wait, just go with me. It says it on the thing. Everything changes, and it's shooting natively vertical 8K full sensor. So it is an option. I know you don't love it, but everybody who's doing vertical footage now with their Canons and they're all putting it sideways to begin with. It's the same thought process in my mind.
Yeah,
true. I'm not going to walk around like that.
Yeah,
but
I saw Terry Warfield, I think, mentioned that, did a video just kind of demoing that. I will say one of my complaints about the Pocket 3 has been when you turn it sideways, the UI stays the same, which means it starts to lose that because you've trained a system on facial recognition and face track. Well, now that the image is sideways, the face doesn't look the same. You end up with some wonkiness. The fact that they thought at least enough to say, we turn it, we rotate the whole UI, you can, And the other thing I would say that Terry did, you've kind of done this too, Todd, is like, if you're going to mount it and then take your screen off and the screen's rotated to be vertical user interface, it can track you around and be fine. Like, I wouldn't want to walk around with it like this, but there are some advantages to that. The other thing that we talked about on your show that I was like shocked at is the DJI is only 4K.
Oh.
So again, if you're Jake,
but to their defense though, the Action 6 when it first came out was also only 4K, and they were able in firmware to make it an 8K camera. It may have the capacity in camera, and they just, again, they've rushed this to market. They're not there yet, but there may be a firmware. I'm just saying, I speculate there probably will be a firmware update to make it 8K.
I don't know if you were on the show when Jake and I talked about it. Maybe you were. My philosophy, buy the camera for what it is today.
I know.
You will almost always be disappointed if you buy it expecting it to be fixed with firmware. At least to answer Jake's question, though, today, what do you feel like is better for behind the scenes content? I'd have to give it to Luna because you have 8K. And like you said, put it up on a tripod. That's what I use my Pocket for. Put it up on a tripod, have it track you. If it tracks me in 8K horizontal and I crop it, I still have 4K vertical.
Shoot extra wide. Just basically
just shoot wide.
Train for the mental thought of, open gate mentality. Even though it's not open gate, obviously, yes, don't come at me in the comments, but come with that mentality of like, great, we're going to do some excess cropping in post on this, and basically like just old school DSLR,
Well, but Jake,
and the tracking is really sick. Like if you're not facing the camera, even it keeps tracking you. Like it doesn't lose it if it doesn't see you. Like the only time when I tested it, the only time it lost me is when I went behind something. But then the sensor was good enough that when I got to the other side, I was like, oh, there it is again, and picked it back up. So it's really good for BTS.
Jake you haven't used either of these cameras, right, Jake? Because I was going to say, you actually don't have to shoot as wide as maybe you think. Because if you set up your Canon or your Sony FX3 to shoot BTS, you have to shoot really wide, because if you're moving around, you have to hold yourself in the whole frame. But I've seen with my Pocket 3 is like, you only have to kind of consider that you're going to, as long as you're not cropped vertically, it's going to follow you and frame you centered. And so then you're just wide enough that you're not like a sliver of a human being. But even, I haven't had to put the wide angle lens on my Pocket 3 because the tracking is so, like Todd, like you said, the tracking is so good that you have a nice 9:16 crop because it's following you. So you're always centered in the frame. It's great. So I think either one of these would be good BTS, but if you are having to crop 8K.
Yeah, that. And then I saw Peter McKinnon's video on it. All right. Casey put out a video on it, which was like, okay, that he got his money. It's fine. What wasn't anything. Peter, we're talking about, the big dogs who are not really, who are still just making content. But the thing I liked about Peter's video, which is what he emphasized, was the detachable screen.
Yes.
That's a killer feature.
The ability that, like, great, I am on the other side of the blank doing this. I have the camera over there. I'm over here, and I can go, great, zoom in on this now. Great.
Yeah.
Why? Good.
It's
you're
incredible.
Fine.
The only weird quirk with the camera, and I've seen people bring, and I've been noticing it now, is that that screen, that it loses charge on its own, just still connected to the camera, which I find odd. Like, I don't know why it's not constantly trickle feeding it. And I was wondering if maybe it's to protect the battery, like, so it's always exercising, but it does. But I don't want to pull it off and have it be 75%. That's weird to me. So I'm hoping somebody does make a third-party thing that I can click it into, and it's got its own power supply too, which I guarantee we're 4 months away from having. I mean, Amazon,
maybe less.
Someone's already making this thing in a Chinese factory somewhere, so that will fix that problem. But it is weird how the screen kind of, I don't know, I don't understand its charging cycle.
Are you saying when the camera's on, it's losing power, or when it's just sitting in your bag, it loses power?
I'll open it up and I'll click on it and the screen will be like, oh, 73%. And I'm like, why? Like, I just charged this last night. Why is it fluctuating on its own? And it may be like I said, a safety, because the battery in that's got to be tiny. Like the screen there's almost nothing to it. There's a screen, there's controls, there's a microphone. There's so much happening. Like, I don't know where they even put a battery in that screen. So it probably is exercising it so that it doesn't go bad. I don't know. Because there'll be some people who will leave it on all the time, and then the battery will never get worked.
What are your guys' thoughts on, I mean, and we could do it from a BTS standpoint, but also from a client standpoint. You know, all three of us work a lot in the social space, right? Delivering social, but also, I mean, it's so needed. It is, unfortunately, you know, vertical videos is kind of a thing right now. What are your thoughts on shooting natively vertical versus natively horizontal and cropping?
I'm torn. You know, the one thing that I love, especially for client social stuff, is actually the Action 6. I like shooting that open gate square and being able to crop it either way, and that's really handy. If I had to choose, see, the problem is I think I would always shoot horizontal and then crop, because what are most, you guys probably know more than me, like what is most real delivery size, like actual on YouTube, and but is it 4K 9:16 or is it 1080 9:16?
Most of it's 10, like you can get away with 1080.
Yeah,
1080. Totally
yeah. So you can totally get a 1080 thing out of the 4K 9:16 horizontal.
Yeah.
So you just have to think about your framing. So I would probably lean toward that, because everything else, once I've made the video, they're going to put it on their website and they're going to put it here and they're going to put it on LinkedIn. And it's not all always going to be horizontal or vertical. So I'd rather have the best horizontal and then cut from there. Me personally.
Colden?
I mean, I would think here, like, if we're doing something vertical, let's go best case scenario. Intentional mindset, intentional campaign design for whatever we're doing vertical versus horizontal. And I think that you get such a unique perspective when you actually shoot vertically that it is a almost odd, like if you're scrolling through your phone and you come up to something that was natively shot on a camera but turned vertically, you'll inherently, like, you'll go, oh, that looks different. Because I see so many, and maybe it's like, maybe we can blame us. It's the podcast space that will constantly take a 16:9 image and crop it for their social media. And that's maybe just my feed, but that look is a very specific look where you've taken a 9:16 image and brought it into 16:9, brought into 9:16. That when you natively shoot something, it looks like you did it with intentionality and it looks different.
I can tell you for me why that is, because I figured it. I
figured it out.
For me, I realized why that feels. Why does it feel like you could feel the difference between you shooting natively vertical versus natively horizontal and cropping? It's headroom. It's headroom, because your frame, every time I frame something horizontally, I have about this frame, about this size image. This is a nice 3/4, you know, right third, left third, whatever side you're looking at, you know, me on, right about headroom. You cut this vertically, you look at the amount of headroom I have.
Yeah.
When I frame vertically horizontal, like when I frame naturally vertical, I will have headroom about here. I will put the thirds change.
Yeah.
And that's when you flip it horizontally and you frame for a vertical thirds, it's completely different headroom. And that's the thing I noticed. You actually frame a little bit more center frame when you shoot natively vertical. And that's why I got really excited about like the 6K open gate, is because you can frame for both automatically and that's why, like, the Kinfinity camera, I was like, oh, I need a camera that could do things like this, is because it actually solves that problem for me as a content film, like as a filmmaker shooting for social, is that I can get both in one camera, in one frame, and I don't have to sacrifice either one. But otherwise, you know, I shoot, unfortunately, a lot of TikTok content for clients, and I shoot it all vertically because, and that's the biggest thing I always ask clients is, where is this going? Where is this going? Where are you using it? How are you using it? And I remember a couple weeks ago, well, now it was a couple months ago, but I was on shooting a campaign, and they're like halfway through, and it was a 3-day shoot. Halfway through it, I was like, you know, I asked, where, you know, how do you want to shoot, vertically or horizontally? And he was like, let's shoot horizontally. And then on the next day, we were shooting some other content. I was like, are you really going to use this content for YouTube? I don't think you're going to use this for YouTube. He's like, no, yeah, it's going TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts. I was like, why are we shooting horizontally then? Like, it is like, if you're not delivering any horizontal footage for any horizontal platforms, like website content, 100%, you know, long form YouTube's 100% horizontal. Like, yeah, obviously. But if you're only delivering for vertical platforms, shoot natively vertical. That's my
I'm gonna jump on this also to that end. You asked either or. What I do for clients who want social is we shoot both. We just reshoot. We change everything, and then we're like, okay, now we're gonna shoot vertical. So yeah, I don't really do for customer one and gun. It's all right, run. All right, now change every setup and do it again. So
have you guys thought about doing a 2-camera stacked lens, stacked camera body?
I've seen that. I have a question.
I've seen that, and I'm like, that's why I want 6K open gate.
So I did the math, and it will work, but I just went back so we can circle back. But I do have a question, just so I can explain my math though. I pulled the new screenshots of this FX5 camera, assuming we get 5K open gate, that would bring the math on if you shoot 3x2 open gate. Do you have this? Hold on.
I just pulled it up for you.
Oh yeah, you pulled it up. Okay. So if you have a 5K open gate at 3.2, it means that if you cropped it into 9x16, you get 1920 by 3413. So that's some weird numbers. But like if you think 1080 by 1920 would be 1080.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? 2160 by 3840 would be a true 4K vertical. You don't get 4K vertical with a 5K open gate sensor.
And that's fine.
We might not need it, but again, I'm just talking about like what is the next iteration? What's the next 4 or 5 years look like?
6K open gate, baby.
If you could get to 6K open gate, yeah, but that's, you know, a GH whatever.
And literally that was one of the last questions the guy brought up, was like, we were talking about camera, like we was talking about whatever. It ended up getting into tech, like where do we see cameras going? I just went off on this exact thing, which is 6K open gate. I think it solves a tremendous amount of problems. This kind of degree of marketer that, you know, these marketer videographers that we three are, like, I think it solves a tremendous amount of that, like, that we go through and trying to appease clients and like get really high quality stuff. And at the same time, you know, because like for example, like I was in Utah and it's what I struggled with, you know?
Yeah.
I was recently out there on a client shoot, and, you know, we were out in these gorgeous,
cool,
you know, out in the middle of nowhere, out in Montana. But again, I'm shooting horizontal because they're like, yeah, we could also make YouTube videos out of it. But I'm like, I have, again, it's my R6 Mark II. I'm trying to frame it wider and like, so it doesn't look great framed horizontally, but I'm like, I hope the editors can think with cropping in on this. And like, I'm like doing a pseudo open gate mentality and just, yeah.
So interesting. I have one kind of follow-up question, and then I know we probably all got to get back to our day at some point. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us so long. But my question about, because I've never thought about framing the rule of thirds basically and why that looks different. You just like blew my mind a little bit on that. The only question though, or like, doesn't this affect it, is, you know, you look at how many rules are out there for framing for Instagram or TikTok, right? You have a dead side on this side because you have all the UI, you have all your stuff that goes over the top. So everybody, you know, cut the dead side off here. Don't do anything over on this side. Leave the bottom because like this much here is all going to be your comment system and your tag. So if you were really going to frame down,
it's now, just center
aren't
framing.
you in your captions though? Because like you want to caption and
it's a more center framing look. The UI is really designed from a cinematographer standpoint, a much more center framing look. And that's where it's like, it feels funny at times because that's why I say the headroom is because the UI, the natural inclivity of a, horizontal traditional cinema framing is that you don't want a lot of headroom, right? Like this would look ridiculous. Right? This looks ridiculous. But I guarantee you cut this frame right here, like even just with my arm right here, piece of paper, right? Like arm right here. This starts to look like a vertical frame, doesn't it? It looks like a better vertical frame than this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, but okay.
Hey, we don't have to agree. I'm just saying it was something that I discovered recently, and I think it was around the time of Cine Gear NAB when we were talking about this 6K open gate, and I went, oh, that's why it looks weird and funky and this and that. So just something, definitely figuring it all out.
Yeah. Well,
I think I framed something wrong now that I do that. I did a vertical for a customer and I tried to use similar headroom and they're filling up the whole frame as your point. And so I don't know. I don't hate that much headroom over the top. That just feels weird to me, but I don't know how to get around it.
But that's why like in the vertical, if you shoot natively vertical and then you look at the deliverables, when you actually put them into any of the UIs, it all looks natural. And you just, that's like, as the cinematographer, I just go, great. If I frame vertical framing in a very specific way to fit that format, which is very different than when I frame horizontally. It's a very, very different framing. And you just have to go, great. But the same way, like this now feels natural because of how it is.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. It's something I have to reflect on when I have to do that again.
Just, it's my hot take. It's where I start to feel passionate about. And again, I'm going to say it one more time because why not? Because why not? But I think 6K open gate actually solves that problem for us. And I just want Kinefinity to have made an autofocus camera.
Jake, you just became a Panasonic shooter is what just happened. You just told me you need a Panasonic.
Is that what Panasonic? Okay, we're gonna have to talk about that next week.
All right, we'll dig into what
we're gonna talk into the 6K open gate because Canon's doing it. I guess Panasonic. I didn't even know Panasonic's doing this. Panasonic is like the weird cousin that you don't really talk about, but it's kind of cool. Like they make like they're not weird. They're not like like oh okay, but you just kind of like oh yeah I forgot we had Panasonic there. You know, Nikon is the child that you go wow, ooh let's ha 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 look at that weirdo. And it's just Sony and Canon that are just the twin siblings that just constantly are fighting.
Dude, I will be interested if you're right on this though in a couple of years with Nikon's Red purchase. Like, do we get more Red cameras that are co-branded?
I honestly, I think that was the most strategic move Nikon could have ever made.
Yeah,
was purchasing Red. It instantly brought their branding and their status to be like, oh, you're cool now. It's the weird kid who got a cool car and is now showing up to high school. It's like, oh, you're cool? I didn't know you were cool. You were just a weird kid.
Yeah. I'm gonna push on that one moment because you brought up the 5D, and I don't know if I've worked with professional photographers that shot on the D3 back in the 5D.
It used to be cool. Nikon used to be the industry standard of camera.
I was so jealous of
those cameras.
Yeah, still cameras. No, 100%. It used to be the photography. Like if you didn't shoot, you either shot Nikon or Hasselblad or Leica. Like it was those three cameras on the professional level by far. Sony didn't exist. Canon didn't exist on that spectrum. It was 100% Nikon on the standard I don't know what you would call like the 35 millimeter equivalent, basically. Whatever that, the full frame, they were the industry standard of bodies and lenses for decades.
Yeah.
100%. And then they just lost all their cool factor.
They struggled for a couple of years.
For like a decade plus.
There's this weird thing because like for some reason NASA keeps using someone at the top of NASA loves Nikon because the moon missions and everything, they use Nikon cameras. Those they've already picked the Nikon, I think 9 for the moon landing. I actually got to hold, which was really cool, the spacesuit housing for the Nikon camera that's going to be used on the moon. Like they brought it to one of those things that we talked about in Vegas. They're like, this is the one that will be what we use to put the camera inside when they go on the moon surface. We're like, can we take a picture? Like, no. No one's taking a picture. Like, come on, how can I prove people I saw it? But so they love Nikon at NASA for some reason.
Takes a good picture.
There you go.
All right, Jake. Yeah. I'll let you. I think, Todd, are you still having a hard time hearing me?
No, you're all good now.
You can hear. He can hear. He can't. I'm gonna let you do the sign off, my friend.
Well, hey, that's been the Creative Lens. Thank you guys for checking in. I see Hardy's Easy still commenting. I think you've been here the entire show, brother. So we appreciate that. Todd,
thank you, man.
Thank you so much for showing up. We love all the insights. It's been fantastic. Todd's becoming like, he's gonna be a recurring guest, in the credits now. He's got that recurring guest in the sitcom.
Yep.
I'm either the Nikon or the Red of this crew here.
You moved up from Panasonic.
Okay, all right.
You're not unforgetting. You're coming up. We got Canon, but so we love it. Colden, you're awesome. I'm Jake, and if you guys are still around, maybe subscribe. Maybe like the video, share it to a friend. I guess that's the things we need to say when we sign off. So until next week, we'll see you live next Thursday.
2:30. See you then.